my history with Overwatch.
Yeah,
So
please.
I started back in Overwatch 1. I think I got into the game about like a month or so before Hanzo lost Scatter Arrow. Not sure what
Uh
season that was, but and I
huh.
started out,
Like 12 or something. Yeah, it was a while
yeah.
ago. Yeah.
But I started out one tricking Genji just because he just looked cool and looked fun.
Yeah.
And I was hard stuck silver at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And so eventually I just got to the point where it's like my mechanics have never been that great,
Mm-hmm.
but my decision making has always been way better. So I decided
Mm-hmm.
to swap off of DPS, which is more mechanically intensive, and
Mm-hmm.
play something like on like tank, like Winston and Reinhardt that don't require as much aim. Uh, so that was about I'd say like a little bit before Echo was released, I think.
Okay, so
Um,
that was early 2020.
yeah. So I
Okay.
got into tank. Uh, I so I started by just like trying it out, like playing Ryan or
Yeah.
whatever. And a friend of mine told me that they like really liked the way I played Ryan, and so I stuck with it. And so that's about when I got into like wanting to get better at the game. And so I got on YouTube, looked at some like videos, try and get better, whatever. And I discovered Coach Jane,
Yep.
and like his videos pretty much taught me how to play Reinhardt, how to play Overwatch in general. And from
Yep.
there, I like skyrocketed in rank. I like flew through gold, climbed through plat pretty quickly until I was like, I think we made like one final push at like the end of 2020. Me and like five stack that I got together,
Yep.
and I got all the way up until it was one win away from hitting diamond, and then we
Oh,
went on
wow.
like an insanely like long loss streak. And from there, and at that time I kind of had to like stop playing the game for a bit, because like I graduated high school, I joined the
Yep.
military, so I had a
Yep.
took a bit of a break there for about like 2-ish years,
Okay.
and then when I got back into Overwatch, it was like right after I finished like graduating from like my A school, power school stuff, and then I got shipped to the boat, and that is when Overwatch 2 dropped. So it was like right when I had time to play the game again. So it was from the break from like right after Echo was released to about when um Overwatch 2 released is when I took my break.
Yep.
Came back,
So it's
tried
all your
playing
fault.
Reinhardt.
The dead time between that and over, that's your fault. You disappear and the game dies.
Yeah.
I guess it's just, man, screw you, dude. All right, so you come back, and how does it
Mhm.
go?
So I set up, and at this time, I pick up Reinhardt. He's
Mm-hmm.
fun, but doesn't feel as strong as he felt at the time when I
Mm-hmm.
left the
Mm-hmm.
game.
Mm-hmm.
And Winston has always been like my favorite character. So I should I mentioned as well when I did my first push towards Diamond, I one trick Reinhardt. Winston was still my favorite character, but the
Mm-hmm.
group I played with at the time, every time there was like a Winston counter on the team, they like made me swap off.
Yeah.
So
Question for you really fast, just before
yeah.
we move on. When you went from gold or like silver to almost diamond, like you were progressing rapidly,
Hmm.
how long was that time period when you progressed rapidly? Was that a couple weeks, a couple months?
That's like a couple months, like 6 to 8 months ish.
Okay, so like pretty slow but steady improvement, basically.
Yeah. Yeah,
Got it. Okay.
gold was very quickly, and it was a very like slow, steady climb through plat.
Okay, got it. Okay, thank you.
Hmm. Uh, so then I decided to like Winston's been my favorite, and Reinhardt didn't feel as strong. So I decided I'm gonna one trick Winston now, because he's just my favorite character in the game.
Yep.
Uh, and from there I got plat back pretty fast. And then I made another push. It was like maybe like the second or third season of OSU coming out, and I climbed to again. So we it was back when they did like the I think it was like 10 wins or 15 losses. Uh,
Yes.
we
Yes.
we were at like we placed at like one win away from diamond again, and then got 9 wins, and we just needed one more win to see our diamond, and then
Yep.
went on a loss streak so bad we got our 15 losses first,
Oh
so
my
back down to plat.
gracious, that's terrible. I'm sorry to hear that.
So I have never seen the diamond icon, but I've been close twice. And then since that initial push, every single season since then has been just slowly dropping in rank. You've been completely unable to climb, all the way up until now. This is the lowest rank that I've been in since pretty much since picking up tank. I'm now in gold one, almost gold
Okay.
two.
Okay. Okay. Sounds good. Sounds good. So I assume here this is kind of a silly question, but ranking up, getting back up,
Hmm.
getting maybe even getting the diamond again. Like actually, excuse me, hitting diamond for the first time.
Hmm.
That's the goal. That's why we're here.
Yes.
Okay. Any ideas to why you're struggling so much? because you're not a bad player. Like you're obviously an above average player statistically, and even before we're approaching a good player, I guess technically, like Diamond's really good, right? So,
Hmm.
what has been the difficulty? Oh, okay, let's go back even further. When
Hmm.
you improved from silver to almost diamond,
Hmm.
what was it? What clicked for you? What changed? What did you improve at? Maybe there's several things, but I'm curious.
It was quite a bit. So, um, I got a lot of like just knowledge from watching like coaching videos and whatever.
Yep.
Uh, I learned a lot more about positioning, managing cooldowns, managing my health,
Uh
and
huh.
shield. 'Cause this is pretty much on Reinhardt the first time.
Yeah.
It was just straight Reinhardt.
Yeah.
Uh, Better positioning myself. Uh, Learning how like matchups worked, and like I got really good at blocking shatters because it was only
Yeah.
like Reinhardt versus Reinhardt.
Yeah.
And then also working as a team. So at the time, I pretty much only played comp with my friends. Even now,
Okay.
about half my comp games are played with my friends. And so just and I'm the IGL.
Okay.
So just like managing my team, getting them to work together really well, also helped a lot.
Right. Okay. Okay. What rank are your friends?
So they're a bit scattered. My support player now is platinum. Uh, my one of my DPS is plat, and I think the other two players are both gold.
Okay, so you play in a five stack.
Yes.
Okay, and then
But
you solo
we'll like
queue.
float people around a bunch of times as well. Sometimes we'll do like
Right.
a three stack, four stack,
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah,
Just
okay.
whoever's on.
But you do play solo queue about half the time.
Yes.
So when you're playing with your five stack, how does those games usually go? So your shot call, and then when you're playing solo queue, are you still shot calling? Are you playing kind of more selfishly, or how does that work?
I play a lot more selfishly when I'm a solo. I don't really calm a lot when I'm playing by myself, but
Mm-hmm.
I look around, see where my team's positioned, and I make my decisions based off of that.
Smart. Yeah, good stuff. Okay, cool, cool. Yeah, I think it's interesting because I think until you get to the highest ranks, where you can pretty much be guaranteed that whoever you're playing with is really good, and it's about min maxing your MMR and so on. Stacking is, in my opinion, probably the worst way to rank up
Mm-hmm.
because you are learning how to function as a team, but not really having the brain space to work on individual skills, especially for you.
Mm-hmm.
And also, you introduce so many more variables into about how you climb. Like,
Yeah.
there's now not one person that you're relying off of improving. You're relying off of four people to
Yeah.
improve, right? Now, for you, you don't only team queue, you do solo queue. So, like, let's say that you do improve at a rapid rate or even get worse at a rapid
Mm-hmm.
rate compared to your teammates. You'll kind of come back in and be like, oh, I went in a 10 game loss streak, so I'm more accurately ranked than I was before, or I went on a 10 game win streak, so I'm more accurately ranked as before. But I think that's really important that you do spend, I would say, 50% of that time in solo queue if your goal is improvement. And then if you're playing with friends, I think practicing your shot calling, practicing your gameplay is fun. But this is going to be a bit of a, maybe a bit of a hot take. But I think when you're playing with your friends in a stack, even if it is in ranked and you are tryharding, you are not playing to improve. You're just playing for fun. That's not
Yes.
practice. So it's there's a very, after somebody has worked a great deal with teams,
Mm-hmm.
the team improvement process can be sometimes or needs to be split from the individual process. So just keep
Mm-hmm.
that in mind. So what you're doing now is fine. Just kind of be aware of those limitations. Now, for what you hope to get out of the session in terms of improving your rank, you want to learn how to take space, when to engage,
Mm-hmm.
disengage, set up for a dive, target party. Seems like a little bit of everything.
Mm-hmm.
You just want to find out like where are my weaknesses, where are my strengths, what do I need to improve on.
Yeah,
Okay.
so like a lot of times, like I'll see a lot of times like Winston gameplay, like we'll win a fight, and I'm like I'll spend a lot of time trying to decide where I want to set up, and a lot
Yeah.
of times it just feels awkward where I'm setting up and it doesn't seem right.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then for
Okay.
like my actual engages, a lot of times it's like it seems like just mechanically screwed up sometimes, and it's like
Yeah. It
doesn't go
happens.
well.
It happens. I mean, I respect that you're thinking about setting up. I mean, that's something that obviously I'm sure that you know that I preach a lot. So we
Hmm.
can look at where you're missing. Now, in terms of hero pool here, Winston, Ryan, Queen, is that correct?
Yeah, so
And
Winston and Reinhardt are my comfort picks, and then I'm learning Queen, but I haven't quite picked up on her yet.
okay. What's your breakdown of playtime with those characters approximately, like percentage wise?
So Reinhardt, I actually just recently picked him back up again, but
Mm-hmm.
it just kind of feels like riding a bike. I still do really well with him.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Winston, I'd say is probably like 80% of what I play,
Okay. So is it like
and then
80, 20, 0 with Queen?
yeah, I just like recently picked up Queen, like about like
Okay, okay.
maybe like 2 or 3 weeks ago. I picked her
Sounds
up.
good. What are we going to be looking at today?
So I have a couple. that I have that we might do. Uh,
Okay.
most of them are Winston. I have one that is a split between Winston and Reinhardt.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Okay. Okay. Sounds good. Now, I want to go back to what you improved upon. And then I want to find out what you got worse at. Because you improved upon your general game understanding, your positioning, blocking shatters, and so on. Do you have any idea what's changed since then? You talked a little bit about struggling in the setup phase, maybe some
Mm-hmm.
mechanical struggles as well. Is there anything else that comes to mind that you feel like has been like a real hindrance for you?
A lot of it's like so. I initially had like the big like adjustment issue from 6v6, because I had one of the people I stacked with a lot was my best friend who played off tank with me,
Ah,
and so we
okay.
had like a really good like synergy together. With him on if I was doing Winston, he was on Diva. If I was on Ryan, he was on Zarya.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, so that was a little bit of an adjustment issue. After we got around that though, uh, just trying to figure out how to take space by myself, like being able to like say as Winston dive the back line, but also not ignore my front line.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay. So
Like I
just
have a yeah, one of the bots
mm,
I actually have is like I get a pick on like the high ground on like group whatever. And then I'll dive like the other three players in the on the back line, but then their one tank goes and just kills the rest of my team.
okay. Okay. Perfect. That's a perfect one to look at. What do you feel is holding you back from improving? You say poor positioning, taking too much damage before a dive, poor dive planning, poor dive execution, pulling into counters. So a little bit of everything. Now, last thing I want to go over here is playtime. So you say around 2 to 3 hours per day. You say about 50% of that time is playing with friends. Um, is there anything on to elaborate on there? Do you warm up? If so, how do you warm up? Are you consistent with playing? Is it mostly ranked? Like, I guess just making sure we're checking those boxes.
Yeah, so I have like a 30 minutes that I play in like I have like a Winston warm up I do for like practicing juggle.
Yep.
Uh, from there I go into ranked, maybe like 2 3 games, and
Yep.
then I'll cool down with some quick play just for fun.
Sure, that's fine. That's fine. I would say 30 minutes is probably completely unnecessary, frankly. I would say
Mm-hmm.
5 to 10 tops.
Okay.
5 to 10 tops. Yeah, yeah. Like that's a long time to be working on mechanics for even a hit scan player for warm up.
Mm-hmm.
So I would say cut down on that time and just get into ranked ASAP. Get
Okay.
an extra ranked game. And then last thing here is let's talk about your sleep
Yeah.
because that's a bit of an outlier.
Mm-hmm.
How long has it been like that? Do you have any outlying or underlying health conditions that lead to that? Is it like a lifestyle
So
choice?
yeah, that was kind of a difficult one to answer on that sheet, the
Of
sleep,
course.
because so I'm in the military,
Mm-hmm.
and my sleep schedule is a little weird. So I'm a submariner, so I
Okay.
spend about a third of the time underway where I'm not playing Overwatch, and my sleep schedule is like it's like I get like 4 to 6 hours a night. Sometimes worse. Like I've gone times where I've like 2 hour power nap and that's it.
Yep.
And then from there I have to adjust to like the other third of the year is like refit. We're in port, but the boat is here.
Yep.
So it's like 6 to 7 hours sleep, but it's also rotating because sometimes I'm
Yep.
sleeping uh like during the day and then I'm sleeping during the night. And then there's time period I'm in like right now where the boat's gone. I have plenty of time to sleep, but I'm still like struggling to adjust. Like I can
Yes.
get like 8 hours down, but my
Yes.
body just wakes up a lot earlier a lot of the time.
Yeah, I understand. I understand. What I would try to do in that kind of an instance there is try to as quickly as you possibly can force yourself into a sleep schedule
Mm-hmm.
that is consistent as soon as you possibly can. So like let's say you have like a harsh sleep adjustment and you're trying to get like 7 or 8 hours and it's not happening, you're only getting like 3 or 4 or 5, whatever. That's fine. Force yourself. What I would do is there's like two rules I want you to follow: get into bed at the same time and get up at the same time. And if you
Okay.
cannot sleep after 20 minutes awake in bed, get up
Okay.
and just do that over and over and over again. Like, and then it doesn't matter how tired you are, you're not allowed to go to bed early. You have to go to bed at the same time over and over again. In fact, for you, if you're getting 5 hours or fewer of sleep, actual sleep, you might have your sleep window only be like 6.5 hours, not
Mm-hmm.
8. Because let's be honest, you're not going to get 8. So then what you do is you
Yeah.
force yourself to wait until that time, 6.5 hours, and then get up over and over again until you're consistently sleeping for 6 at least out of those 6.5 hours. Then you can expand it. But you really want it to be a routine. You really want to train yourself that when I'm in bed, I sleep, and when I'm done, I get up. That's it. And then try to make those adjustments happen as quickly as possible by being very, very strict about it. Because I feel for like that variance can be difficult, but I think
Mm-hmm.
that there's some ways that you can manage some of the variables to help you make that adjustment a little bit faster.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Because like a lot of times what I'll do is like when I'll get home from work, I'll take like an hour or two power nap, and
Right.
then like when it's time to go to sleep, that's like I cannot fall asleep.
Yeah,
And then when I do, it's
absolutely.
like I'm down for like 4 or 5 hours maybe.
Yeah, totally avoid that entirely.
Hmm.
Totally avoid that entirely. Just force yourself to stay up. And then obviously there's like little things like when you're drinking caffeine in relation to your bedtime and like blue light stuff like that. But there's a lot of information out there for that. But I think like just those two things alone will over time assist. I know they've helped me. I've got a pretty active mind, so sometimes I need to give myself some space to wind down. But being very
Hmm.
consistent with it will help a little bit with that. And I think that's just important for your improvement. Like I really think
Hmm.
that like if you're getting under 6.5 hours of sleep, that's probably at least in your top 2 or 3 reasons why you're struggling in Overwatch. It's important for sleep, reaction time, the ability to regulate your emotions, and just learning things like being able to internalize some of the stuff that you talk about and like being able to progress is like really important. So, um,
Hmm.
okay. Do you have any other questions?
Uh, Starting out, no, I might have plenty when we get in, but I don't think I have any right now.
Okay. Yeah, of course. Like we'll look into that. Okay, shoot me the code or code you want to start with.
Okay. How many did we're gonna get through?
It depends. What we can do is we can jump around if you'd like. We can look at a couple team fights from that one, a couple team fights from that one. We can finish one code in entirety.
Hmm.
We have 40 minutes, so I'm sure we'll have
All right.
plenty of time.
Yeah, I'm gonna start with this one.
So, is this the one you talked about, like where your backline's getting traded
Yeah.
by their
So
tank?
they had like an insanely good Sigma on their team.
Mm-hmm.
This one I'm three stacking with the Genji and the Ana.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Okay.
here I'm like, yeah,
So this was one you chose because of backline trades, essentially.
yes.
Okay.
And also, so at the beginning it starts the backline trade. After this, it feels like I'm forced to play very like defensively because my
Mm-hmm.
backline keeps getting traded.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so I just like I'm unable to find opportunities to dive and whatnot.
Sure. So there's basically two things that Winston does. He either cleaves multiple targets,
Hmm.
or he dives an individual isolated target. His matchups versus tanks is kind of poor, right? But it's not terrible if you can cleave multiple targets and you can tank. Your team can trade at the same time as you bubble. The other thing
Hmm.
he does is he dives the backline or isolates backline or forces the response, either gets a kill, forces CDs, and then disengages, rinse, and repeat. Now,
Hmm.
this is not a great Winston map. Second and third, there's a little bit more options, but Sigma is probably going to be just flat out better than you for most of this entire map, if not the entirety of the map.
Yeah.
The verticality is hit or miss. It's very open. It's very long. It's exactly what Sigma likes to do. So you're operating at a strict disadvantage right now. So that may be some of the issues, and it's probably almost certainly some of the issues that you're having. Just keep that in
Hmm.
mind. But obviously, for you to be in gold one, there's probably more issues than that. Now,
Yeah.
I want to talk about this, for example. When I see this right here, what should your response be here?
So normally when I see stuff like this, I will try to like drop the high on off the high ground, and then
Mm-hmm.
because he can't really chase me back if I come back up. But right here, my Ana tells me that she has line of sight on me, and so I am confident in my abilities to 1v1 this Reaper with healing.
Sure, sure. Can I be honest here? Your problem with 1v1ing this Reaper is that this bubble sucks.
Yeah.
Right? You're not you can absolutely take a trade with the Reaper. It's not the worst thing in the world. But the only reason that
Hmm.
this works is because this guy's looks like my aim, okay? And that's not a compliment.
Yeah.
So
Hmm.
you need to bubble dance this appropriately. So this is where
Yeah.
we're gonna go into check the box on mechanics, but
Hmm.
a specific we're not just gonna say mechanics. We're going to say your bubble dancing, your bubble placement here is
Hmm.
poor. Okay? So then
Yeah.
we'll
I
take note
dropped
of
it a
that
bit
and move on.
early. Yeah, I dropped it a bit early, and then I wanted to back up to like bubble dance there, but then I realized I would break line of sight of my Ana from going down the
Yes,
side.
of course, of course. I understand. I don't think it was even early. I think like when you popped it, you needed to. But yeah, like the way that this bubble dance is just awkward. I understand the
Yeah.
concerns with LOSing your Ana, but this sucks.
Hmm. Yeah, and then here's the other part right here. So their Sigma's gonna walk forward, and I see I can try and take space here.
Hmm.
Uh, Maybe like if I'm distracting all three of those players, then my team can 1v4 the Sigma and win. And it doesn't really go as planned.
Okay, so this is where you have to judge things based off of your intentions and not the results. So if I look at this here, or you look at this here, if you were to judge this on terms of like the decision itself, maybe that's why you're here because you're not sure. But
Mhm.
do you like this?
Yeah, I see an anti-nated Ana. I see a low health Juno.
Yep, you have bubble, you have HP. Their tank is pushing, so that there will be something to trade. So if your team dies here, your team sucks.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I guess.
So you ready for this? Your team sucks, and so do you. I'm teasing you just a little bit here, but what's the problem here from your end?
Uh, so right here, I go after the Juno because she's lower HP.
Sure.
But she has more mobility than the Ana, who is also anti-nated. So I
You
probably
ready for a
go for
hot
the Juno.
take? I
Yeah.
don't. I actually think going for the Juno here is fine. Because you're like, she's more mobility, but like she's also so low that you can get literally like a little bit of zap and like an alt fire, she's dead. The problem for this one is you just didn't freaking bubble. That's it. Like you're going into a Cassidy with Hinder and an Ana with Sleep and Nade. And honestly, even without those cooldowns, you still need to block the damage of the Cassidy, right? Like the bubble, you are here, you want to do damage here. It's not like you have to chase them outside of your bubble. And you just didn't bubble. So then the Juno lives, the Ana lives. I think you should have killed both. You ready for this one? The reason why your team sucks is, I don't know, they just suck, they're bad, right? The reason that, but you should have done the exact same thing that Sigma did to your backline, to their backline.
Mm-hmm.
You understand? And the difference is that for you, there's less counterplay for them to dodge this. Because if you bubble correctly, like you just have such a massive advantage. Whereas your team, they're just dumb. Like they just got too close. Like they could have just literally just pressed S and they just didn't, right?
Mm-hmm.
Plus you had to hit a crazy rock. The difference between you and Sigma is when you have set up a good engage, there's like as close to like guaranteed value as there is in Overwatch. Like bubble is unbelievably strong. Whereas with Sigma, like there's just no guarantee that he like you know what I'm saying? Like that's not going to happen most of the time, right? Mm-hmm. So we will judge your decision as excellent, but your execution as terrible. Now the question is here, why didn't you bubble? Do you remember this? Is this something that you're not thinking about? Do you remember this engage specifically?
I think this is just like an autopilot thing where I tend to bubble as soon as I land, but I got slept before I hit the ground, so I didn't bubble at the time.
Okay. That's totally fine. I appreciate the clarification. Okay. We'll keep going. Any questions so far?
Not yet.
Okay, we'll keep going here.
Yeah.
But yeah, you don't need to worry. It was the right decision. It really was. It was the right decision. You don't need to worry about it.
Okay.
Now here's where things get a little tricky because you're like, how do I approach this?
Like, yeah, I didn't see like high ground or whatever. I couldn't really.
Yeah. Well, then let's solve it for a second here, because like let's be honest, you really don't want to just all in dive with no sense of cover or disengage, because you're gonna jump and then you might get focused down and you might die. Okay, so then look at this and solve it for me. Where do you think you could do? What could you approach and where could you engage to put pressure and not immediately blow up? It's hard, right? This map sucks.
Yeah, I can probably engage in the high ground, like where that Juno is.
Yeah,
I have the high ground.
That's it.
If they try to chase me, I can drop off.
So you jump here. Yeah, you don't really get the landing damage that you want. That's okay. Mm-hmm. But what you do is you give an opportunity to, like, okay, if they don't respect me, then I can bubble and zap and disengage. If they do respect me, then I can always just tuck and disengage, right? I mean, there's so much cover here, right? Like you are not going to die here before you get your jump back, right? Mm-hmm. And even if you do, you're going to live a long time. Like you're going to be able to put out a lot of pressure. That's it. You solved it. Now, this was a difficult one, but you took a couple seconds to think it through. And now if you play this map again, if you see a similar situation, you might recognize this a little bit faster. Heck, if this didn't have high ground, you know what the best jump is? It's a jump like over the Ana's head, right? To where like you pull the Cassidy this way, right? You kind of don't jump in the middle of them, but kind of jump behind them. And so that then they have to kind of turn around and chase you back, and it buys you time, right? Yeah, okay. Or cover or whatever else, but yeah, let's see. Oh, we could have gone. We needed to go. That's okay.
Yeah.
I understand your hesitation, but like this is where, given a little bit more intelligence with your setup, I think you're okay.
Yeah, I actually want to dive like into a full 5-stack with a Reaper.
Understandable. I will say that Reapers are much easier to deal with nowadays with the armor changes. So, okay, so for you here, we kind of have the same question, right? With what you see here, where should you go? Cassidy's dead. Where's Reaper? Where's Backline? What's the status of your HP? What's the status of your bubble? What should you do?
So I have bubble and full HP. I could try to go backline on the Ana. Reaper probably still has fade, so he's probably not killable here. I could also go on the Sigma, since my team is there to also back me up.
Sure.
I could bubble off his healing.
So what's optimal, though?
Optimal here would probably be the backline, because I can
I agree.
Here.
I agree. They're easier. Cass is not there. Also, crucially, Reaper's not on his backline, so that if you jump backline, Reaper's not going to immediately blow you up, right? Because these guys are isolated. So he's going to have to, again, chase you backwards, which creates space. I think what happened here is that you see the Sigma quote unquote overextending, and you're like, this guy is like, just killed my backline. I need to like bubble him up. But no. Because the thing is by the time you get here, he really could have already killed your Ana. And then obviously now you're like, well, crap, this bubble did nothing. I've not actually pressured to kill. I've not forced any CDs. And then now I have massive downtime and this Sigma doesn't. So you really need to hit that spike in value. Otherwise, you're going to be in trouble.
Yeah, I also was like lacking in map knowledge there, and I didn't see where the supports were.
You're right. That's totally fine. Totally fine. This is okay. Again, we're talking about like what cleave value is. If you had bubble here, I think this would be really good, but you just don't because you're going to be able to get 2 targets. So even though it's a tank, it's a Sigma and it's 2 targets, so it's okay. Mm-hmm. The problem here is you don't have bubble, and then okay, we're good. I never doubted. Now, again, you got options here, right? You could go here. It would be risky, but you could. Just based off of the nature of their positioning. You just need to be full HP, and you need bubble.
Yeah, that's right. So I was thinking about it, and I looked around and saw my team wasn't there to follow up. So
yeah, that's fine. Okay, next engage. How do you engage here?
I think I forced Reaper out first, and then I dive their backline.
Right. I don't want you to do this. I think this window of Reaper providing pressure in your backline is useful, but you need to make sure that there's no follow-up here. It's really important. Mm-hmm. I think Reaper's fine if he's available, but like you have bubble here. Why not just go for backline? You have Kitsune. Why not just go for backline? And you also, crucially, have a great engage. You can either land big cleave here, but where else could you engage to? If you want to be a little bit safer.
Behind the sports, maybe?
Mm-hmm. Tier, right? Yeah. You know, something to consider, right? Heck, you could even jump this way and come play the corner here. You have options here. So I think what's happening here is I don't mind this. It's fine. But just something to consider, because you see what just happened as a result of the Reaper going in.
Their supports are able to get damage.
Their supports are able to get damage in. Right. I don't think what you did was a massive mistake that we're going to obsess over. Just kind of something to think about. There you go. And see, like, the difference here is you got a good engage, good mechanical engage, bam, landed. You get the bubble, and it's crucial to point out as well that it does seem that you like to bubble on landing, right? Mm-hmm. This time it worked out greatly. Other time it didn't. And now you're just... I mean, you're going to look at this and be like, oh, I died, so I messed up. But, like, I mean, honestly, I think this is okay. I really do. Yeah. Like,
the same thing with the Sigma. Just killed my team while I was doing
I mean, they also used 2 ultimates, and you guys used 1. So, it happens. I hate these bubbles so much. Remember, I don't hate the frontline bubbles, but I really want cleave, and I really want to make sure that you need it, right? You know the Sigma's overextending. You don't need a bubble here, because you know what you're going to need bubble for in 3 seconds now, right? Now you need bubble, because you got what?
2 targets in front of me.
2 targets, right? Frontline cleave, or you go for the backline jump on trade, right? So we need to get out of this choke, and you're going to do it with Primal, but I want a bubble first, because ironically, a lot of the times, a bubble and a jump is better than a Primal. At least initially. There's just more kill threat, right? Yeah. Like, you know, if I had bubble here, like, somebody's dying. Like, somebody's going to die, right?
I think that's like another big thing for me is I never really think about frontline cleave. I'm always thinking about like kill potential and putting pressure in the back.
Right. Well, because usually it's not necessary. It very rarely is it necessary, right? The difference is looking for if those backline opportunities aren't there, or because the map is bad, right? The map is bad, or the tank line trade is good. Like, let's say first fight Coliseo, right? There's not as much opportunity, circuit here, a lot of flashpoint maps, but I'm not saying look for frontline trades, but when you do, what's the option here? Like, we could do everything we talked about with backline trades too. Okay. Let's get a good jump here.
Yeah, she gets away.
That's fine. I mean, it's fine. Like, you forcing her out is big value because she no longer can do damage. She can no longer heal. You're forcing CDs onto her as well. So yeah, that was fine. But window of vulnerability there on a bubble on a tank trade that you just didn't need, on a tank trade that just wasn't necessary.
That's unfortunate. Pretty sure I jumped over here because I saw him use Spade until he's killable.
Yeah, it's fine. I'm like really disappointed by your use of bubble. I like the bubble. Like, obviously you need bubble, but it's just like, first off, you needed to have bubbled already, because if this on is halfway decent, you're getting shot, you're getting slept, you're getting naded, he's getting healed. You bubble when he turns on you, but not only is this bubble late to block CDs from his backline, but it also doesn't even stop him from shooting you in the face.
Mm-hmm.
You know? So then when would you bubble here? You'd call when? I'm going to slow it down to 0.25.
Probably now.
Yeah, I agree. Right now. And then you can dance up top here. You can drop. You're blocking the CDs. Like, I'm telling you, like, this is just basically, you're not thinking on the engage of like, when does it make sense to bubble? Because the easy thing with Winston is jumping and pressing E. But that's where the hidden mechanics of this character are, and the hidden strategies. Like, when do you actually want to press bubble? Like, even right now, like, do you really want to be taking this engage right now without bubble? Even if you do have primal, just wait. Just take 3 seconds and then go for a backline trade for when you have bubble. And then, so when you jump now, you're not 350 HP. You're 625.
Yeah.
This is, do you notice again what the problem is here, right? Ignore your HP for a second.
My bubble doesn't stop him from shooting me in the face.
Right.
I mean,
The
right
bubble
now,
is okay for a split. It's okay for a split, right? I actually don't even hate the bubble, but the way that you play around the bubble drives me up the wall. What should you be doing with your body right now?
I should be getting ready to bubble dance with him.
Getting ready to bubble dance, right? Right. So the placement is actually okay. Your placement of your body is not. Because I'm like, oh, yep, good. Oh, no. Right? You back up into like letting him shoot you, right? So I actually think the bubble was good there. Oh, and by the way, you're getting backline traded again. Again, it's not your fault here, really. It's really not your fault. I will say that this would be a lot better if you had full HP and full bubble. And in addition to that, if you had to choose who you could engage on here, who would be optimal and why? Diana, why?
Less mobile. She's also further back, so it's harder for the rest of her team to stop me from killing her.
Basically, turn off your brain and go herd or easier kill. That's it. Like whether she's less mobile or she's less tanky, and sure, she's just dead. Like she's just dead. Like that's pretty much all it is to it. Cassidy is like fan roll 200. You got an extra 25 HP. High noon even. Like there's just a lot to deal with here, right? So just go for the support. Like when you can choose, because you look at this, and the difference between you here is if you look at this. Let's go to this guy here, right? He hits the shots again, crazy. He's using his flux. He's going for squishies. He's going for Ana. Like, you're just getting backline traded. And frankly, this guy is just mechanically better than you right now. He just is. And to be honest with you, this also might just be the way that the matchmakers put you. This might be a diamond player. Mm-hmm. And his backline is,
our Ana is actually diamond, so it's
right. So that's how it works, right? Sometimes, occasionally, that's just how it works. And but ignoring the comparison between you and the enemy tank, you just need to be doing your job, right? The game is not expecting you to play at like a plat 4 level. It's just expecting you to play at like a gold 2 or gold 1 level. And right now, maybe you are, maybe you aren't. Okay. All right. Because I really like Winston versus their comp. I think Cassidy Reaper is always a little bit tricky, but backline's pretty fragile. You even have tank line trades as an option. And then in terms of staging here, what are your options here? I don't hate this, but I think you could level it up a bit.
Yeah, I could probably go high ground more.
I think so too.
More natural cover from getting shot.
I think so too. But a little bit easier access for the targets that you want to go for, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because then I wouldn't be dead. Oh.
I don't hate what you're doing. You're a bit on an angle. You're trying to use cover here. You're hesitating because of the Juno ult. I wouldn't even hate if you bubbled here and just kind of cleave zap to try and distract them so your team can kite out. But yeah. Oh, that's fine. Yeah, I actually don't hate this. I really don't hate this. You were on a bit of an angle. I think the only thing is that you did have a better staging ground available. But once again, we're in a situation where they popped 3 ultimates. You guys popped 1, and after you'd already lost space. So it's like you're just not going to win these fights. They have literally triple advantage. That's just how it goes. I don't hate this, but what I would be doing is instead of bubbling off the Sigma and shooting Sigma, bubble off the Sigma and shoot backline. So do this exact same jump, but turn your camera and zap this here. Why?
Because they're squishier, easier to
right.
kill.
more likely to force a response. So you're getting a little bit of damage on Sigma. I want you to get a little damage on these guys. Like I understand not wanting to like full commit backline, right? Where you're like, I might die. If you'd had time, rotating here would have been better. I don't know if you did. That's fine. But regardless, like bubble off the Sigma, but shoot the Cassidy. Shoot the Juno a little bit.
I was trying to like body block him, but then he shoots me with the other.
Yeah. It happens. Yeah. I think it happens. More the details though. I don't think this is too bad. The what's bad is your response post bubble, right? You've done your job. You have 4 CDs. You've taken a pretty advantageous HP trade. Now what do you do?
Now I need to sit back, chill, get bubble back, and then go for
That's
a
right.
better die.
Duck cover, right? Or even just totally disengage to this high ground and just chill, right? You've done it perfectly. Like look at your HP. This is great. This is perfect. This is exactly what you wanted. You've taken Sigma completely out of your team's front line. It's not perfect, but it was a very good trade, a very good decision from you. This is stupid. This is where I think you're thinking again, like, oh, Sigma, I can take this 1v1. It's not bad, but it's not a 1v1. You don't have bubble versus a Cassidy on it. You're done. In fact, I don't care if this is Kiriko, Lucio, or Moira. It's still bad. Still bad. In no situation is this appropriate. I wouldn't do this if you had Primal. I'd still wait for my bubble and use Primal when I saw an opportunity, right? But see, now you are demanding so many resources, and so your team has lost. You actually lost space on a bubble because of how bad your HP trade was. And then now you're gonna bubble Reaper, which is like fine, but that bubble could have been for a kill in a backline too, right? And yeah, this is a wash. So we'll keep going there, and that's gonna be a cap. Okay, so do you have any questions?
I'm understanding it for pretty much the most part.
Okay. Okay.
So seems to be just like my bubble management, utilizing better, and then going for targets that are easier to kill rather than targets that are overextended.
Yes.
If the Reaper goes in, if the Sigma goes in, I should just pick a target easier to kill.
Sure. So that's one. The second one so far has been being very deliberate with your bubble timing. I don't want to be broad about your bubble man. Like, no. Like, let's be so specific that when you go into a game, you can practice this. I want you to think about when and where do I drop my bubble on this engage? Yeah. Like, be super specific with it. Like, force yourself to really lock in. And then the last one, which has been only a couple of times, but it has been very significant both times it has happened, has been stop doing things without bubble. unless that's not a hard rule, but that's like a 90% rule. Like unless you see a squishy 1 HP target, or I have Primal and that on just use sleep dart, whatever, like that's fine, but those are exceptions, not the norm. And then a couple of setups, right? That third point, the recontest and first point, when we've kind of figured out how to like approach backline sneakily. But yeah, a lot of little things, but I think that these are things that like we can very specifically practice. So
it's like I really like break my habit of just waiting till I drop bubble and just be more deliberate when I need to drop it.
All right, and this is like a war crime right here. Like this is horrendous, right? I don't hate you poking out the Reaper with your support, right? And I honestly, I wouldn't have even hated using bubble. I wouldn't have liked it, but not he's breathing out, right?
Yeah, I get too slow to that.
That's all right. That's all right. It happens. If it is just a reaction speed, like, what was I doing? Like, that's okay. That's okay. I just don't want to make sure. I want to make sure that's not a habit, right?
Yeah.
And I'm not convinced it's not. Like, it's a little bit concerning. Good.
Yeah, I lost you there.
Yeah, I mean it's okay, but I want to go even deeper than that, right? I'm not convinced here that you. Well, maybe you should. I feel like you probably should have bubbled this as well. Because again, you need to anticipate what here?
Getting slept by the Ana.
Slap, nade, damage, any sort of healing onto this Juno as well. Like losing her was a mechanical mistake, but I don't really care. I'm more concerned about the strategic mistake there. Like that should have gotten you punished, right? I'm like, okay, whatever, it happens. It's fine. Maybe it's not perfect in terms of placement. Like for example, here, where would you bubble? How would you bubble with what you see here?
The bubble, I like the bubble here because of like where he was the distance.
Sure.
Maybe a bit off. I don't know. I don't really know what a better bubble would be for that.
For me, it's just a little detail. I want you to get on her grill and bubble. Like I want to make sure that she can't kite this out like this. You see this here?
Yeah.
I want to be maybe just it's with the Reaper. There's a little bit more urgency. With the Sojourn, there's a little bit less urgency, right? So you can greed it more for damage because there's no CC coming in here. There's no big burst CDs. Even if she rails you in the head, it's like nothing. So I would it's just a little thing of like knowing the engagement and when you and how you need to bubble. So it is a bit of a mechanical thing and like understanding bubbling versus an Ana and Sojourn, Reaper, Bastion, Torbjorn, Tracer, Genji, all very different. Even a Juno, right? If you're jumping a solo Juno who doesn't have solo heal pocket, you probably shouldn't bubble immediately, right? So if like, let's say you jump this Juno here, the only reason that I was worried about the Juno here with the bubble wasn't Juno, it was Ana, right? That's why I wanted you to bubble, right? So yeah, it's tricky for sure, but yeah. I think you're losing faith. You're losing faith. You're losing faith. Don't lose faith. You're doing the right thing. You're doing it poorly, but you're doing the right thing. So here, if you want to jump back, what are you jumping back on?
I should probably go the high ground behind them.
Well, maybe. I know you don't have bubble here, but like you see people that are low, right?
Yeah.
Right.
I could kill the Reaper there with the
you could kill the Reaper. You could kill the Juno, right? The problem is that you're like, I think your mind's more on the Sigma.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you're more like, this Sigma's like bottlenecking my backline, and then ironically, the Juno gets the kill. Whereas you only had 2 kills here, right? Yeah. You know, I even get not going for Ana here. You're like, I don't have bubble. I don't want to get, like, I can't really deal with that, but yeah. Okay. I'll also say as well, is Zex your stack, or is that a random?
That's a random.
That's a random? Okay, I was going to say, Zex, is that... Okay. I was going to say, your team comp is actually so bad versus Sigma. The Bastion swap is like, might be the worst DPS you could play in a Sigma on this map. Like, it actually unironically might be the worst DPS. People are like, oh, Bastion's a tank buster. No, not versus Sigma. It's terrible.
Yeah, I'm playing with the Ana who's Diamond, and then my Serial, the Hanzo. He's Genji one trick, but he got frustrated and swapped off Genji here.
Yeah, Hanzo's not great versus this comp, but it's not terrible, so like it's fine. He's good in the map, so that's the most important thing. Okay, so a little bit of cleave here. We get the jump, we get the bubble, bam. I mean, this might be the best engage we've had this entire game. You should be proud of this. Nicely done. I think you took a little bit too much damage in this rotation 2 here, so that you're not quite at full HP on your dive. So that's like my biggest nitpick here. But you land, you bubble here. You bubble her healing off. You can actually chase a little bit with this cleave. The Sojourn's stupid and comes into you, so that's just forcing more and more and more healing resources. And so if we look at the beautiful red circles here, watch the red circles.
Now rotating towards me, my team.
Isolates the Reaper, and also look at your HP post-bubble trade. You see it?
Yeah,
it's beautiful.
Like almost full.
Almost full. So if you do see somebody one, you can go. If you don't, you do nothing, and then on your next bubble, you're going to be full HP, and crucially, in the meantime, your supports don't have to heal you. They just do damage, right? So this is really, really well done. Like here, it's like, you know, let's be honest, I don't like this if she has Sleep Dart, frankly. I would have just AFK'd a little bit longer, but, you know, you could do a little bit of cleave jump and then drop bubble here, and it's risky, but it's not the worst thing in the world, right? Mm-hmm. And meanwhile, yeah, that Sigma's cracked, right? He's just dominating people. But you know what? Mm-hmm. They still lost the fight, and he used an ultimate.
Yeah,
that was good. You should feel good about that.
The reason I went there without bubble was because I saw my DPS was with me during that.
Right. Well, it was one of those 10. It was one of those 10%, right? We said 90% of the time the answer is no, but it's 2 supports isolated. I don't think she has Sleep Dart. Sure. Then you have the HP for it too. So, like, you know, like again, there's exceptions to the rule. You're more than welcome to break the rules when you think it's appropriate. I don't have a problem with
it. Yeah, I think these 3 get stuff. I have like a really big problem with this point because, like, they have the high ground.
Yep. Well, you need to set up. I know you need it, and you need to be creative. So where is that? Don't think about high ground so much as thinking about how do I set up an angle or an easier access to backline.
You got high ground on the left side?
Yeah, if you had time, you could like kind of lurk back here. Are you ready for this one? I wouldn't even mind if you sit and hide here, right? If they walk in and push you this way, fine. Like I will bubble them off. Like again, access to backline. I can also you can also, heck dude, you can flank this way. You really can, right? You have time. You can do something like that. It's fine. Do something like that. You can also hug like here and then look for an engage to backline there. A little bit safer. Just don't be on card here. Yeah, so you're kind of automatic. You're kind of naturally migrating here. I think this is all right. Because now you could just bypass the Sigma. I just don't like this because you do have Primal, because you do have Bubble, and because, again, are we getting cleave out of this?
No.
No, you're not.
Like, looking at this post-replay, both the DPS and the low ground, the Sigma dropped, I have free access.
Yeah,
to
you do, right? So the cleave is, maybe this is not a hard rule, but generally you go for cleave when, again, there's 2 or 3 targets. But honestly, most of the time you go for cleave like this is because a backline engage is not possible. And as you just said, it's very possible. It's not only possible, it's easy, right? You've set up really well. This is where you need to be good engaging. And instead you're not even cleaving, you're just shooting a Sigma. So it's just like, look at your bubble HP. You see it? That's your red flag right there.
Yeah.
It's fine. Yeah, it's good. And now you're like, what? Okay, man, this is a wash, right? Now you're like, what did I do wrong? Well, Sojourn free fired, Ana free fired, Juno free fired for way too long. I mean, you should have with the engage and the nano and the primal that you had, you probably should have killed 3 people by yourself. You probably should have killed 3 people by yourself. Like I know that any Winston at this level should. But yeah, okay. But you're recognizing these things crucially, which is good.
Mm-hmm.
It's good. It's tricky situation, right? Like really tricky. Like, I can't access backline. I'll just blow up if I do. But you jumped to an angle that you could access. Used your bubble. I think your bubble timing is pretty reasonable, right? You don't want to get naded. You don't want to take big damage from accretion, from Sigma or a Reaper. You got a little bit of cover. You create a little bit of space. You go back to cover. It's just really good from you. Like, this is really, really, really good. I think it's like, it's not sexy, but it's good. My only problem here is what? Do you see it?
My bubble.
I know it hurts, but well, partly, but also you didn't have it. That's my problem.
Yeah.
You need to be really careful about this. You need to be really careful. I know you're like, I'm going to push for my Reaper. Yeah, but be careful. He might just die. That's okay. You need to be there to make sure that you clean up the fight. Because you're right here. It's like, you should have died here. You really should have. And then all of a sudden this fight's losable. But yeah, okay. Setup phase again here is like something to consider. So probably with where the cart's going to be, where you're likely to set up from. Just think angle. If I can't get the perfect high ground, just a little bit of an off angle. Where you go?
Maybe the stairs.
Yeah. I think you could go here. Go for like a flank little trade here. Bubble jump and just jump out. You could also honestly even just kind of sit here. And if the Reaper pushes you, fine. Kite him, take the trade with a bubble, right? But just don't go here. Again, if you lose this fight, it's fine. Like, that's 3 ultimates. But yeah, this is fine. Like, you're going to lose this fight, so you might as well try to go for a kill. Mm-hmm. Okay. That was a good fight for you guys. I think better setup from you maybe gets a trade there, but yeah, this is fine. What is your Reaper doing?
Yeah, I think you just do the same thing.
Yeah, and this is it, right? This is the thing is like you're not going to get cleave here, right? Like you're not going to get cleave. You need to approach from an angle. You need to go for like something here, bubble jump drop. You need to jump over here, force a split. You're just basically going to frontline trade without getting cleave. And so, hey, you're going to lose. Shocker.
Yeah, I think I'm just like so hyper focused on high ground that if there is no high ground, I just like shove my face down main.
Right. Right. So when there is no high ground, what's the solution?
Flank angles.
Flank angles, right? They don't even have to be like hard flanks, just like a little bit of an angle here. Use your mobility, right? Use your mobility. You can set up easier onto better targets and control different space. It just reduces the amount of damage that you take. Gives you a little bit better vision as well. Good stuff with the primal, like obviously like locking down those squishies. Here, you need to be careful. You don't have supports yet, I don't think. Okay, now you do. Like here as well, right? If you're going to set up to stuff this choke, where do you stuff this choke?
I could probably go from the room on the left.
Yep. You go. You're just here. You're just here. It's literally the difference of like 3 meters. That's the difference because you cannot get punished for being here.
Yeah.
You want to make them walk out and turn their butt cheeks to your team, right? You want that Sigma to have to shield your team while looking at you, right? It's just a minor difference. This is where you probably are going to get cleave, and I probably would not recommend jumping into here, right? Just take the trade on the front line, but do so from a bit of an angle. That's the difference, because you can even see what can I zap from this angle, only Sigma. Whereas if I'm here, what can I zap from this angle?
3 of their team.
3 of the team, right? And then jump, disengage. Puts you in a much better situation not only to survive, but also in a better situation to prevent follow-up onto this flux. That's the key thing. Let's see. Is there anything else worth looking at here?
Yeah, I don't think the rest of this.
Yeah. Okay. So we could look at more footage, or we could do a bit of live coaching. Your call.
Uh, I've got one more that I want to look at actually.
Let's do it. Let's do it. Is this more Winston or is this Ryan?
This is both.
Got it.
This is
Perfect.
Ryan. It starts on Ryan. So this one is I start on Ryan, and it starts out as like a complete one side ass kicking on my end. And then they swap to counter me, and they start winning.
So do you want?
I'll swap
You want
to
to?
Winston.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing as they swap again.
So do you want to swap to when they counter swap, or do you want to skip the when they counter swap and then go from there?
The counter swap is Rocket's first fight, so you start from the beginning.
Yeah.
They lose right after the first fight, and then they swap to counter me.
Got it. Okay.
Slowly winning.
So let's take some quick notes with Winston then. Winston, what are the priorities? We talked about 4 things, I think. 4 pillars.
So being more deliberate with my bubble.
More deliberate with bubble timing, depending on target, CC, CDs, winning 1v1, etc. Keep your brain engaged. I mean, a lot of these are going to be revolving around keeping your brain engaged with the actions that you're doing, which is why we put such a priority on sleep. Okay. What else?
Nothing. It would be if there is no like obvious high ground to take, then I can attack from a flank angle or some way to make them turn their attention to me and not my team.
Flank angle to leverage mobility and force a split distraction. Easier targets to zap to. Okay, what else?
So going for cleave damage instead of just like not using my bubble for just one target, but trying to go for cleave damage with it.
To attack from, but make sure it's 2 targets, preferably. Minority of situations, but it's worth pointing out. Okay, what else?
And then the last one we talked about was prioritizing targets that are easier to kill.
Squishies when given choices. Don't feel bad if backline is traded. A lot of the backline trades are just their backline being uncontested in disguise. Like, I think without exception, when we looked at your thing, well, actually with a few exceptions, I think 2 specific exceptions, the Sigma Flux and then the first fight, those were really the only times where Sigma was just dominating your backline. The rest of the times was, Ana or Juno or Cassidy or Reaper is actually dominating your backline, and you were not contesting that exact same backline. And that's the case going to be most of the time. And this was a pretty extreme example because I think that Sigma was definitely a better player than you. Like, you're definitely higher ranked than you. So like 95% of the time, you're like, I'm just getting backline traded. It's because you're not backline trading properly. Like, as going back to even as soon as first fight, right? Like, or we died. Juno actually secured the kill with torpedoes that instead of you contesting her, or the on and nade on your backline killed them. That's why it's so important. The tank might be the obvious thing, backline trading, but how is the tank being supported? Where's the follow-up damage from his backline, right? And that's kind of like what you want to be looking at there. Okay, so those are all things I think you can specifically practice. What I would do is I would look at the situation, look at the map, look at the comp, and like even as soon as the map's loading up, what do I want to practice this game? You load out in Circuit Royale, I think setups, big deal. Awkward maps, so definitely thinking about how you want to approach, like no obvious high ground, taking angles. Watchpoint Gibraltar, you're probably a little bit more experienced. Yeah, probably a little bit more experienced with setups. So then maybe the play, and certainly I don't think until 3rd point, Cleave's even going to be an option at all. So on 1st and 2nd point, let's really focus on bubble timing, like nailing your bubble timing mechanics, perfectly done. And then maybe 3rd point, it gets awkward. So setups or cleave. How do I set up? How do I cleave properly? And kind of taking a look at those engages. I think that's going to be the key thing for you. Okay, let's get some right here. Yeah, I mean, Sigma, Moira, Kiriko, pretty low damage composition on front line, so you will have more agency.
I realize it here, and I kind of just go and just start swinging because I realize I can't really do much.
Yeah. Just keep swinging until you break armor. Like, here I'd shield a little bit. Yep, there you go. Yep, keep popping those fire strikes, and so then they're going to go anti whatever. Perfect. The Echo is definitely a little tricky. The Orisa is a little bit tricky. I would say since Orisa lost her speed on Fortify, it is a much more favorable matchup than it has been in the past. These fire strikes suck. I swear, like, I cannot tell you the difference. I could tell immediately the skill difference between lower and high rank Reinhardt's just based off of their fire strike intentions.
Yeah.
Like
I think
it's
that's like
not.
my biggest issue with Ryan is I am terrible at landing those fire strikes.
Well, you know why? You know why it is? It's because it's the same problem you have with bubbles. They're just automatic actions without intention. Like you look at this here, and it's not just, oh, I missed the fire strike, but also really you shouldn't be aiming for the Orisa. You should be going right for the backline behind her, right?
Yeah.
And I don't even know if that you were thinking about that. And then again
So
here,
I saw the Kiri coming out. I thought I could like cleave the Orisa and the Kiri with it.
right. And okay, at least you're having a brain there, so I'll give some respect there. But yeah, I mean, obviously it doesn't end up working out, and so you choose 2 targets until you hit neither, and so yeah, it is what it is.
Yeah.
Here, I need you to find a corner. You look at this here, and like this is another one of those situations, like first point circuit, where you're like ignoring the messy fire strikes. Was it your fault your Juno died? No, not really. You're contesting 3 people. Okay, so then was it your fault your soldier died? No. So what could you have done better? Hit a fire strike, build shatter. That's it. Like you're not going to win this fight. LH Cloudy would not have won this fight on Ryan. That's just how it is. This is fine. Why prediction fire strike when you're going to have a target there in 2 seconds, right? Like this isn't like sniping fire striking a spawn door, right? Like look at what's on your screen right now, right? It's fine. It's fine. Your team just sucks. That's it. I mean, but we have a real problem with fire strikes. This is not a mechanics thing. This is not a mechanics thing. Like your mechanics are not that bad. I promise you. So the way to beat Orisa is basically find her windows of vulnerability, live her windows of invulnerability. She is really, really good when she has her jab, when she's using, not just has, but is using her Fortify, her ultimate, her javelin spin, okay? When she doesn't have those, you're just better. Not necessarily at winning the 1v1. Like, ironically, I think that 1v1 is pretty tricky. But you just don't take damage, and she does constantly. So if this Orisa is pushing here, you can swing or you can shield. It doesn't really matter. Like, I think you could swing here. But even if you were to, like, let's say that you were, like, kind of low and needed to shield, who's going to be taking more damage? Obviously.
Orisa.
It's Orisa, right? So she can't actually take space. And Orisas are going to do that. They're going to be like, oh, Ryan's low, let's push, and they're going to die, right? If she fortifies here, just shield. If she javelin spins, just shield. And then beat the crap out of her. But right now,
I'm swinging and not getting anything with it.
you need to be swinging, you need to be shielding, right? You need to be avoiding those basically, it's like, okay, when you're strong, I'm going to just deny any value that you get. That's it. Because that's why the matchup has gotten so favorable for you since the Fortify changed. Because even when she's invulnerable, she's very slow. So she can't really get a lot of value during those windows of times. It just feels bad. It doesn't feel very satisfying for you, but it is a pretty 50-50 matchup for you nowadays. Shatter's fine. It's only fine because she doesn't have Fortify, which I assume you were tracking, kind of, sort of. Yeah. Yeah, this is fine.
That's probably one of my strong suits. I'm good at tracking cooldowns and ultimates.
Yeah, good. A little bit of that shot calling, maybe, you know? All right. Like, right now, this is where, like, the fire strike stuff, like, really matters, right? Like that's just a total blind fire strike. I think you might also want to back off here, because I think your team... Yeah, see, this is just a little... I don't mind the play. It's just you're down your BAP. That's the only thing, right?
Yeah, I don't think I even realized that.
Yeah, that's okay. Fire strikes are good, though. And this is just... Okay, this is just kind of silly, right? Again, find your corner, right? Where's your corner right now? Is it cart? Is it here? You know? Is it heck here, right? Are you going to be aware, right? Like this is like, you need to find your corner. If you're going to push somebody, like pin is squishy, you still play a corner, right? Like if you were to go like, I'm going to go YOLO mode here and just pin into here, I would literally prefer this because there's actually like an actual corner here, right? So you can go for an aggressive play and pin a corner. If you pin backline, like legit just dive back, like let's say you're going for their backline over here, you pin backline from an angle and hold corner here. You kind of see what I'm saying? Like everything with Ryan is hold corner. It's like basically find a situation where you can do a lot of damage and then just not take any damage at all. Here, you're getting pincered, you have no cover, you're not able to comfortably live her vulnerability windows, and now you're cooked. Like you're not cooked because you're dead. You're cooked because everything is having to pocket you.
Yeah.
And so your teammates are going to be punished for that. Right, exactly. So you're like, you know, what went wrong? Well, because your backline threw literally everything into you, and so your team suffers from it.
Yeah.
Okay. Fire Strike. Broken Record. I won't bring up the Fire Strikes anymore. Just know that that will be one of our points to practice. Mm-hmm. Okay. So this is how you play the Orisa gameplay loop, especially with people that counterpick you because they're really bad at Orisa usually. Mm-hmm. Here's what you do. That's Javelin. That's Javelin spin. What do you do? Shield.
And swing until she fortifies and shield.
See, do you see how, like, even though you messed up your Javelin spin, because she hasn't used Fortify yet, do you see how this HP trade is going? Yeah. It's not bad, right? It's not bad, right? It's actually really, really not that bad. Now, you're going to need to shield now because I don't want you to drop out of armor. But the funny thing is you're like, oh, I want to keep swinging because I want to keep that Orisa low. You don't need to, because is the Orisa going to continue to take damage? Likely, yes. Mm-hmm. When you shield, are you going to continue to take damage? No. So who wins the HP trade right now? You, even if you don't swing. Even if you don't even swing. So I think you're like, oh, I don't want to take two. No, you're fine. Like, you just needed to block those CDs here. You just needed to block those CDs. And see, now she's cooked. She's tried to greed her Fortify because she saw some, Game Leap guide about like, oh, don't use your Fortify or Fortify second, and now she's just dead. So, bingo. It's fine. This is fine.
Yeah. Oh, I remember the shatter. This one, it went from really good to really bad.
Well, it's just a hard comp to shatter, right? It's a hard comp to shatter. This is a comp where you absolutely have to track a cooldown, whether that's Fade or Suzu or whatever. Mm-hmm. You're not going to get a 5k, Yeah. I don't hate this. Again, like, you're like, there's nothing for me to swing on or pressure right now, so I'm going to go find something. And you do. You force out Sombra pretty easily, which is good.
Yeah. So the shatter was good. I hit like 3 people here, but the follow-up was not great.
Again, do you see the Fire Strike again? Like, you're. I promised I wouldn't bring it up, but I'm lying. Okay, I'm gonna bring it up one more time. You don't even know what's going on. You're just pressing buttons.
Yeah, and then I just run here and I get cornered in the building.
I think the problem is just that you broke your corner rule, Yeah. That's pretty much it. I actually don't even think this is too bad, actually. I think what you needed to do now, like if we're being really nitpicky mechanically, is what? What needs to happen right now?
I need to shield the Javelin spin.
Just hold shield. Just do not drop shield. Whatever you do, don't pin, just hold shield. Hold shield. Mm-hmm. If you hold shielded for literally 1 more second, I think you live this, because she's going to Javelin your shield. I know she is. She's stupid. And then you're going to pin out, and then you're going to get pocket from your team. She's going to pop ult, and she's probably going to die. Yeah, I mean, I want to be very clear. This was like a little bit of a mistake from your end, but if this is why you're losing, like, I don't care about this. This is not why you're losing games. This is not why you're goal 2. This was not a bad play. You created a lot of space. You're still holding them in the choke. Your team could have very easily won that fight. Despite your mismanagement, you did fine. Nice Fire Strikes, man. It's like almost as if like when your brain's on, you're like, I know it's a fat target. I don't care. It's still the most accuracy we've seen from your Fire Strikes like ever.
Yeah.
It's whatever. Just dying cart. Okay. Do we see more Ryan? I want to see more Ryan.
The Ryan is going to happen on the second half.
Okay, yeah.
So
let's
this
go ahead.
is a win, so I'll go Winston for a bit. No, it's against like one-sided again, and then they go Roadhog, and I swap Ryan, and I'm still losing.
Yeah. Well, the irony with Winston versus Roadhog versus Ryan versus Roadhog, I think Ryan versus Roadhog is better if you don't have space for Winston. I think Winston versus Roadhog is better if you do. So, for example, right now, I actually think Winston would probably be a little bit better just because of the space that you have right now. Like, you could just jump this, or you could just take this angle here, or you could just take the angle here, right? But I also think Ryan's, like, fine here. Okay, let's see what we got.
Yeah, this is where we didn't go much further past this.
Now, I'm gonna point out that the trade with Ryan versus Roadhog is the same as versus Orisa. He has hook. You need to block hook. You block hook, you just basically win the HP trade with either swinging or not taking damage. In addition to that, you have the option to go, oh, if I want to pin corner here, where can I pin?
I can pin into that room.
Right, you pin Hanzo. Target. Because you have what? It's not just an isolated target, but corner, right? You have corner. You have shield. You pin here. You either get the kill or they overreact. You hold shield. You hold shield. You hold shield. Your team wins as a result. Now you're probably not going to be able to do that here because you took too long to make the decision, and then also your team is dead. But yeah. Little flourish there. Love to see it. Fire strikes need to hit. 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 Pin is fine. Not really on a corner, but you are an ultimate here. I think this is where you need to get your head out of the sand a little bit here and be like, what can you push here? And like, why go for Hog when there's other targets available, right? So once you've pushed them out, is there another angle I can clear? Can I push Moira? Can I? Because the thing with Hog, like, I'm going to be real. You're not going to kill Hog. It's just not going to happen. Like, it's just going to take too long, especially if he has ultimate or vape. It's just not going to happen. So your job is just to demand fewer resources and/or leverage your mobility. You're a dive tank when we compare you to Hog, right? So that's fine. It ends up working out, but it is just not the most efficient use of your resources with them holding high ground here. Okay, so let's take some notes here. Let's take some notes. Rein. We don't have to solve the problem with your Reinhardt. This is the huge, just little things that will allow you to snowball your improvement. Little things. What are those things?
So, massive one is fire strike accuracy.
Fire strike.
Like being more intelligent when I throw them and how I throw them.
Yeah. It's not mechanics. It's your intention, really. It's part mechanics, but mostly intention. Yeah. All right. What else?
Playing corners better.
Playing corners when playing passive. Playing corners when diving in. Okay, what else? Versus cancer tanks.
Being able, or like being intentional about blocking their strong windows and then swinging on their weak windows.
Strong windows, pushing weak windows. Now that might change. Like versus an Orisa, you might be more swing heavy. Versus a Hog, you might be more, hey, I'm going to pin your backline heavy, right? Because a Roadhog without hook can't really punish you for pinning off on an off angle, right? Heck, he can't even trade your backline very easily because he doesn't have a hook. He's not threatening anymore. Whereas in Orisa, it's like it's more comfortable for you to. But remember, sometimes winning the tank trade is just simple as surviving a CD and then pushing a CD, and it's not that complicated, right? Even on Orisa, like heck, that's a window for you to pin too, right? No javelin, no fortify, pin. No hook, pin. No trap, pin, right? Like those are your windows there, whether it's on them or on somebody else. So I think that's what makes Reinhardt very special, is that he is not much of a tempo character in terms of he doesn't really have windows of hard vulnerability. He's just pretty much always useful, which is why he's very good in lower ranks, because he's pretty easy to just kind of hold shield, shatter, and that's pretty much it, right? Whereas a Roadhog, Orisa, there's a lot more CD management and so on. Okay, do you have any questions?
No, that's actually helped quite a bit.
Okay. I want you to be like, I know it could feel a little bit like philosophical and frustrating about like, why have I not made progress? These things that we talked about aren't super complicated. The biggest thing for you is probably going to be your sleep and playing with intention.
Yeah.
Right. And then actually allowing yourself to practice these things effectively. You don't need to practice these things every game. You don't even need to practice these things most of the games, most of the fights, just for a couple games every day, for as many fights as you can remember to put intention, even if it's just 3 or 4 fights per game, it's fine. You'll make progress. Make it manageable, and keep me updated if any questions come up. All right.